And now, around the world and around the corner, it's the David Bowers Awards, bringing the best in indie music to millions of listeners worldwide with your host, the David Bowers. We've got a fantastic lineup of guests, as well as our engineer extraordinaire, Nick the Geek, our entire crew here at the Asylum, and me. I'm John Bon Jovial. And now, here's the voice of indie music, the David Bowers.
Well, thank you very much there, the legendary John Bon Jovial. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard for another hour of indie music and talk with the artists who make it. We've got an exciting and original show for you with some really interesting music from a prior guest of ours. We have a Native American experimental artist, Jiiniikwe Medicine Bird is going to be with us in a little bit. First, we've got some other stuff, including a new installment of Rockstar101, and, of course, the music, which is what it's all about. Here's Kristen Karma and Party Heroes.
Backs to the walls like you're back in school. No one makes a sound, afraid to break the rules. The light shines bright on an empty floor. Only 7 people here and they're looking for more. Bust through the doors, here to save the day. Rescue our souls and show us the way. We show up late and we're bringing the crowd. Look out, we're coming and it's gonna get loud. Time to get dirty, get a little flirty. Gotta give you what you need. We are the party heroes, light it up. Here we go. Turn up the volume from 1 to 10. We are the party heroes, feel the beat. It's a rush so high, don't let the party end. Now the bass is pumping all over the floor. Got you moving and a grooving and I wanted more. A shot to the brain and a shock to the heart. Got me feeling like I'm dreaming and our world's apart. We're dancing on tables and we're taking shots. Grab a drink, don't think, 'cause we will never stop. We're all here, the party ain't gonna end. Fill it up, raise your cup, we set the hottest trends. Time to get dirty, get a little flirty. Gotta give you what you need. We are the party heroes, light it up. Here we go. Turn up the volume from 1 to 10. We are the party heroes, feel the beat. It's a rush so high, don't let the party end. We're gonna let the party end. Turn up the volume 1 to 10. Party heroes. 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 Time to get dirty, get a little flirty. Gotta give you what you need. We are the party heroes, light it up. Here we go. Turn up the volume from 1 to 10. We are the party heroes, feel the beat. It's a rush so high, don't let the party end. Don't let the party
And there she is, Kristen Karma. She's from Vancouver, British Columbia. She is now based out of Toronto, and she has, in addition to making a name for herself across Canada, she was selected to Indie Week 2018 in Toronto and also opened for Lady Gaga's official after party. at the Joanne World Tour in 2017 and opened for Akon at his Gulf stop on his Canadian tour in 2017. Got called back to open again for Lady Gaga, the DJ Lady Starlight at the official after party for Lady Gaga's the Born This Way ball in 2013. So she's made a good, strong name for herself, and now she's starting to invade these United States. I have a sneaky suspicion that you may be hearing more from Kristen Karma right here on the David Bowers Awards, where we've got Rockstar 101 coming up. This is a show where every show is an award show, and that way every guest is an automatic official award winner. No nominations, no electing panels or anything. You just, if you do something really great or really stupid, you are deserving of an award, and we'll give you one. So if you know someone in music who has done something exceptionally good or exceptionally dumb, let us know, and we'll create an award for them right here on the David Bowers Awards. We want to salute our house band, Titty Bingo, who provide our theme music for us every week, and also provide some great old rock and roll. Check them out online at tittybingo.com. And we'd also like to thank and salute our friends in Rochester, New York, where they listen to us on WRFZ FM 106.3, Rochester Free Radio. And, of course, Mary Perry, our good friend, who is an accredited disability representative in Rochester. And I may have to check with her for my disability, but, hey, she underwrites the David Bowers Awards on Rochester Free Radio. And we are eternally grateful for her support, as well as all our listeners out in Rochester. And, of course, you, our listeners around the world. Without you all, we wouldn't be here. And coming up on the David Bowers Awards next, we've got Native American experimental rocker Jiiniikwe Medicine Bird returning shortly. But first, another edition of Rockstar 101. And this time we're happy to have our own engineer, who is also a professional artist, sound and recording engineer, and instrumental instructor, Nick Rogers, joining us. And we're going to talk about how to make it in the music world today. And specifically, I believe we're going to be talking about an artist starting out with his own home recordings, or his or her own home recordings, I should say. Nick, come on in here and say hello.
Hey, Dave. How you doing?
Doing just great, thank you. How about yourself?
Oh, doing well. Staying busy in the music world, buddy.
Hey, I know you are. You're a busy man. You're playing. I know you play with one or two groups, and you're also doing your instructing. And we appreciate you taking the time to chat with us and talk about making it in the music business. And specifically, I believe, as I said, you were going to talk about artists starting out with their own home recordings.
Yeah, absolutely. So the days of going to a professional studio just to cut a demo is pretty much over. So being able to put together even just a basic home recording rig and just a little bit of knowledge, you can yield some pretty impressive results. Yeah, it's a great way just to demo material, even as a songwriting tool, going in and starting to arrange things piece by piece so that by the time you do get to a full production studio, you're not having to work those things out on the clock.
And that's pretty...
It's a small investment. Small investment.
Yeah, I was going to say...
Thousands and thousands.
I was going to say that's pretty much like the song pitchers have been doing for years, where they'll go into a home studio or something and just do a rough out of the song that they're pitching and take that out to sell.
Right, exactly. Even with just marginal instrumentation, there's so many things that can be done just completely artificially, everything from drums to piano to guitars, and we're even nearing the point where voice synthesis has gotten to the point. It's not quite there yet, but almost to the point where we can create that stuff artificially.
And not to mention auto-tune, which John loves to no end, of course. But,
yeah, right. It just really displays an untalented person's lack of talent, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I know. I'd like to get my hands on one of those. I've always fancied myself as a singer, and I would like to hear what I would sound like if I could sing. So, anyway, what would you say?
I'll tell you what, with auto-tune, I have a love-hate relationship with auto-tune. I hate it because it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. Even people that don't need it are using it. But it's gotten me out of many a jam before, working with less than stellar artists.
I can understand that, and I kind of feel the same way you are. I love-hate both sides of the line on this one because I love the fact that we have this technology that can do so much for us, but I don't love the fact that people are depending on it. I mean, if they want to intentionally create music using this as an auto-tune production, and they're saying, okay, here's what auto-tune can do, that's cool. But where they use it as a crutch, that's a total another thing for me. But going back to your discussion of the artist starting out, what does an artist really need? The basics, the bare basics. If I was going to go out and cut a demo to go out and pitch, what would I need in my home?
First things first, you got to have a decent computer, which even an entry-level computer can run recording software fairly well. The days of needing to go spend $3,000 and $4,000 on a souped-up PC or Mac are pretty much over. I myself am a Mac guy, mainly just because that's what I'm trained on. It's what I've been using for years and years, and I'm comfortable on the platform. If I were just starting out or I were giving advice to someone just starting out, I would say, in all honesty, maybe go the PC route. You can get something for a little less money with, in some cases, higher specs. And most people are familiar with how to use PCs. A lot of people have Android phones, and just about everybody knows how to use a basic PC. They've got them in their pockets.
Right, exactly.
But it has to start there. It has to start there. The days of grabbing a 4-track recorder and recording to a cassette or even a CD, that's long since passed. You have to be computer literate in order to be able to do this.
Exactly, and that's an important thing. What would you say, what are some of the basic requirements I'm a novice, I play around at, local events and everything. I'm going to set up my own studio to see if I can actually make a recording. Now, you've mentioned the basic computer we need. What kind of a microphone should I be looking at?
Well, that's kind of a loaded question. I'm glad you asked it. A lot of that depends on the type of room that you're recording in. Most of the time, if we're recording in a home, we're working in a bedroom or we're working in a garage. And oftentimes, the acoustics there are not ideal. Anytime that you have parallel walls that meet at a right angle, you're going to have issues with sound reflection, where the instrument, the actual physical sound wave, is going to bounce off of the wall. And that just turns into garbage in the track most of the time. So I would say even before picking up your microphone, treat your room. It's really not that expensive to do. It's a critical step, but it's also an often overlooked step. People are like, oh, well, I just need to get a good microphone and then it won't matter.
Sure.
Well, in all honesty, if you get a good microphone, something that's very sensitive, that's just going to completely overemphasize the problem.
It's going to matter more, yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. And you actually took away my next question, which was going to be about the room. But John Bon Jovial, you're sitting there all too quietly. Wake up and join the conversation.
No, I'm here. I'm taking it all in. And you pretty much asked the question that I wanted to about the microphone in relation to the room. But also, you've got to take into consideration as well the ceiling. Sometimes a ceiling can have just as bad of a mirror effect up against the floor. And that has been my experience back in the old days of doing radio production. And finally, the engineer got his act together and put foam throughout all over the ceiling, all over the walls, and really deadened the room. The deader the room, the better the demo is going to be.
That's very true. If you go into a professional studio, oftentimes they'll have a live room, and that live room has been treated to sound a certain way. It may not be completely dead. In fact, it may be very live with a lot of reflection, but the room has been tuned to sound that way. Your bedroom has not. So it's always better in a home situation to try to deaden as much as possible, and then if you need to create space later on, create it artificially using effects.
Since not all of us are blessed with having round rooms, to go and rehearse in. And obviously, a lot of the stars